John here, guys, and today we're talking about the Diatone L5. This is the ultralight long-range version of Diatone's craft. Now, when this arrived, I really didn't know what it was supposed to be for.
Don't be a...
Oh, after you, kitty cat.
Because I've been building essentially the same exact components that are in this thing, and I've been doing it on the 4-inch scale. Now this one happens to be analog, but really the video system is just up to your preference. Now the analog does have Diatone's new version of the video transmitter, which is actually quite good, very clear. It has Diatone's long stemmed antenna, which is going to get you good coverage throughout, because you can see either direction you're going to have a good, nice, clear line of sight to the antenna. And then rounding it out, they have the Phoenix version 2 Diatone Mamba branded camera right there that looks very nice. But again, this really goes for the DJI or the analog setup. Now that we've covered that, everything else is going to be just down to the power system itself. Now, why is it notable that they use this size motor in a 5-inch? Haven't you done that before, John? Yes, I have. Particularly the 2004 HGLRC Recon that we recently had on here, and the 5-inch ultralight version of the Shocker. Both use this size motor. This though uses a very low kV. It's 1700 kV, so that would make you think that it would really be more of a 6S. But look how thin the bottom plate is. In fact, the center section is very similar to the other quads in this class. It's a little bit more elongated so that you can have a longer battery. Diatone does all of the nice touches. They have their machined rounded hardware, the screws all over the top plate, and even on the motors they give you those for on the top and the bottom. The top plate is milled out, so there is a specific tiny little milling around each screw hole that lets the screw fit just a little bit more flush. I do like that when you buy this, they have the capacitor installed for you already at the pigtail. That is always a builder's headache, and you have to decide whether I'm going to put it at the end of your pigtail or at the battery leads, and they've done it at the battery leads, which is the best practice. So that's nice. Very nice mount back here for your Immortal T crossfire antenna. That's what I'm going to be using on this. Of course, like all of the Romas and L version of these crafts, they all have this universal GoPro style mount at the front. I have mounted up the Insta360 Go 2. I found this file for the mount on Thingiverse. It offers essentially no protection, but I'm not going to be doing freestyle bando bashing on this, so that's totally fine. Of course, all of these Diatone versions have this really handsome front milled aluminum cage at the front, so you have maximum camera protection. Absolutely love these Toka motors. The finishing on there, the bell is much nicer and sturdier and thicker than the Brother Hobby version of this 2004 motor. So I actually prefer the Toka. Power is very similar, but wait a second, guys. I overlooked something. The kV of this motor is only 1700. Why is it so low? The next thing you're going to notice though is that the top plate is actually rather thin. Now at first I thought that would run into the prop line, but the prop line is actually slightly below the top plate. So you could run a nice fat battery on here, a Li-ion, but I went ahead and ran it on a 1054S. That's what I ran all of the size quads in this class on, and I wanted to see, and my expectation was, okay, 4S on this low kV, is it even going to get off the ground? Is it going to feel super underpowered? The other reason why I was worried about it being underpowered is that all the builds that I've done, whether they be 4-inch or 5-inch, they all tend to come around the same weight. They've all been about 195 grams. Well, this, without the camera on here, is 225 grams. It's a little bit of a fat boy. So that 30-gram difference on a size class that is really under 200 grams is going to make a lot of difference. So I'm already starting to get conclusions in my head about how this is going to fly, and Diatone's managed to do it again. I think out of the bind and fly manufacturers in the game, Diatone is the best at matching their components together. If you remember back to the Diatone GT349, the 3-inch that could go 117 miles an hour on 4S, but it was still remarkably efficient, and they've translated this onto their new style craft. This thing really shocked me. I thought it was going to be super underpowered, but it wasn't.
Heavy is good, heavy is reliable. If it doesn't work, you can always hit me with it.
It was actually plenty fine for some light freestyle. The only time I felt the lack of power was recovering from a dive, and it still recovered fine, but I just had to give it a little more throttle than I'm used to. So you could definitely acclimate to this. I was shocked that I could actually do a power loop and it felt totally fine. It was only from a really hard dive trying to recover super fast, and I have a few instances in the footage of that. So it actually flies great on 4S. I mean, there's no way you're gonna burn up this AIO board. Speaking of that, this is the new version of Diatone's all-in-one Mamba board. It's 25 amp. It has nice big pads. Look at the work they've done. They've soldered the pads on the underside, so it's a really nice clean build. So how does it fly other than that? It's extremely smooth. The Dead Cat design does not have a lot of distance between the front and rear props, so at first that might make you think that it's going to be a little jittery, but it's actually quite smooth. I do have hyper smooth turned on this footage, but I'm going to show you some of the analog feed, and I couldn't see any jitters in this thing. Like, this is default stock. I bound it up and I went to go fly it, and it just shocked me at how well Diatone manages to get these tunes. A lot of people are gonna say, what's the tune? What's the tune? Well, here's the tune. It's default. I touched nothing. I touched nothing. This is how it flies out of the box. So good job on that. In addition to the machine hardware, you also get these very handsome wire covers. I don't think that that's really going to do a lot. These light props are not going to bang up your wires, most likely. It's like more of a finished product, and I really appreciate all of those touches. So who is this for? Should you go with the Roma 5-inch Freestyle traditional quad that's going to weigh closer to 400 grams, or should you go with this light version? If you're going to do traditional freestyle and carry a full-size GoPro, you want to go with the big boy, the Roma 5. That is the best bind and fly on the market. If you want to learn, I don't know if one of these ultralights with thin arms, although the arms are actually thicker than a lot of the ultralights, that's probably where some of that weight is coming from. So it is going to be somewhat durable. And I do like that they have this nice tip out on the edge of the arm that's going to offer you some motor protection. So who is this one for? This is if you want to go on a long flight time, if you want to cruise, if you're not worried about doing aerial acrobatics, although it does have the power on tap for you to do most of the freestyle maneuvers that you will want to learn in the sim. I got 11 minutes flight time on this thing on a 1050 doing light freestyle. Like, this wasn't a cruising session. I was doing light freestyle on a 1050 $16 battery. 11 minutes? That means that if I would have done cruising, I probably could have flew for 13 minutes. That means that if I would have done a 1300 milliamp 4S, I probably could have flew for 15 to 18 minutes. That means that if I flew a 3000 milliamp Lion 4S pack, I could probably fly for 25 or maybe 30 minutes or longer. This is incredibly efficient, and like I said, Diatone is a master at matching these. And so I really doubted. I was like, why is the KV on this motor so low? I do think that they probably are going to offer a heavier version KV if you want to do freestyle, but these ultralights really aren't meant for that. I do like that the GPS is already set up already for you. You can already see your coordinates as soon as you're flying, so that's kind of a nice cool thing to see. I don't normally install GPS on any of my quads. I don't go long range, but if you wanted to buy something and not have to build it, setting up that GPS is one step that a lot of us are not familiar with if you don't always do that. So it's nice to have it already done for you. So would I recommend something like this versus the Flywoo Explorer? Look how much bigger this thing is compared to the Flywoo. It's quite a bit bigger, even though it's only a 5-inch compared to a 4-inch. I think I would have more fun with this. You're gonna have more durability on this 5-inch. So I'm thinking the 5-inch. This versus the HGLRC Recon, they both fly very, very similar. actually feel like the tune on this Diatone was a little bit better out of the box. I feel like the durability on both is going to be quite good. They both have dead cat. They're both not going to have the props in view. If you want to do freestyle though, you're going to want to build something like this Apex 4-inch. I have a review of this coming up very soon, or it may be in the channel. I'll put it up here if it is. If not, stay tuned. Even at a full punch, it's so quiet. So that's another reason why you might like something like this. This is not going to want to carry a full-size GoPro though. So if you're down with these small cameras like the Insta360 or the Go 2 right here, then you're probably good to go. What do you think in the comments, guys? Are you micro long ranging? Are you doing it on 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch? What is the sweet spot for you? Nice job. Thanks, guys.